What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to GamerFuzion. Star Wars Zero Company gives you 8 authored operators across the campaign, and every single one of them carries a signature ability of their own. So today we are going through all 8 and every talent that comes with them. Now here is the part that trips people up. A talent is not a class ability at all. It sits completely separate from your specialization and it stays with that character no matter how you rebuild them. We will cover how the system actually works first. Then we will run the roster one by one and finish on the talents your own recruits can take. Usual caveat applies here too. Nobody has finished this campaign yet, so all of this comes from official material and the guides published ahead of launch. Let us get the system straight before we start naming people. Every operator in Zero Company carries exactly 1 talent, not a tree of them and not a loadout you swap between missions, just the one for the whole campaign. For the story characters, that talent is fixed and it is tied to who they are. Your own created operators choose theirs at creation instead, from a pool we will get to at the end. The important part is that a talent is always active. It runs underneath whatever specialization the operator is currently holding, so you can respec a character completely and their talent comes along unchanged. Now here is the chain that makes all of this matter. Talents upgrade using focus points. You spend those in the personnel facility back at the den, which is the same place you handle respecs and secondary specializations. And where do focus points come from? The official trailer is blunt about it. Grow operator bonds to gain focus points and stat bonuses. So the characters you keep taking on missions together are literally the ones whose abilities get stronger. And bonds do not only grow through combat. Previews describe moral choices back at the base, shifting your standing with every squad member individually. So the dialogue you pick feeds the numbers as well. Upgrades are not all cosmetic either. Some tiers just raise the numbers. Others change what the talent does outright. Number 1 is Trick, and he is the longest serving member of the outfit. Trick is a clone trooper designation CT-3301. He was declared unfit for military service after an injury. That is how a clone ends up working for a mercenary company instead of a Republic battalion. He and Hawks go back a long way. He also carries real trauma from the Battle of Umbara, and that becomes friction later with another member of your squad. On the battlefield, he is your heavy weapons man. Rocket launchers and the loud end of the arsenal. One thing worth flagging, honestly, the guides published ahead of launch disagree about whether he starts as a soldier or a heavy, so treat his exact starting class as unconfirmed. His talent is not in doubt though, and it is called For My Brothers. If Trick goes down during a mission, he revives once by himself. Upgrading it improves the health he comes back with and his resistance to injuries. In a game where 3 wounds can end a character permanently, a free second chance is worth a great deal, and that matters more than the stat line suggests. Every authored operator except Hawks can die for good, and coverage says losing one permanently closes their story threads for that campaign. Trick surviving is not only a tactical concern. Number 2 is Kabb Uppercut, and the name is doing exactly what you think it is doing. Kabb is a Felshi, and that is worth pausing on. Every other species on this roster is established Star Wars canon. The Felshi appear to be brand new, created specifically for this game. He is a veteran prize fighter and a former convict. He brings a cybernetically enhanced arm to the squad and a very direct approach to problem solving. He is one of the operators present in the opening mission, so you get him early rather than waiting on a story unlock. His talent is simply called Uppercut. It is a melee attack that knocks the target backwards. Here is the clever part. It refunds the action point if the punch finishes them off. Now, think about that against the 3-point turn structure. A free kill that costs you nothing keeps the rest of the turn completely intact. Upgrading the talent improves both the damage and the knockback range, and knockback is not just flavor in this game. Punching something out of cover is what sets up the rest of your squad to hit it. Kabb is the operator who makes an enemy stop hiding. Number 3 is Mordant, and she has the most interesting backstory on the roster. Jay is a former Ore Baroness born into the noble house Mordant of Shutarun. She walked away from her family to build her own mining citadel on a world called Lunada. She ruled that place independently right up until Fathom and the Infinite Coil took the planet from her. So her involvement is not idealism and it is not money. She is the one who brings Zero Company the job in the first place. Her talent is called Final Shot. It is a passive execution. When an ally attacks a target and leaves it on low health, Jay immediately steps in and finishes it. Upgrading the talent raises the health threshold it triggers on. It also increases how many final shots she can take in a single turn. That second upgrade is the one to watch. A character who cleans up every wounded enemy your squad leaves behind gets better the more the rest of your team is doing. Number 4 is Luco Bronc, and he is the sharpshooter of the group. Luco is an Umbaran, and that detail is the whole character. Umbarans have pale skin and pale eyes, adapted to the near total darkness of their homeworld. It is a species built to see what other people cannot, which is a very neat fit for a marksman. He defended Umbara when the Republic invaded it, so he has no love whatsoever for the Republic, and he ends up working alongside a company led by a former Republic officer. Remember Trick and his history at that same battle. Those two do not get along, and the game leans into it. He is described as sharp-tongued and very good at holding a grudge. His talent is called Combat Gas. It builds stacks of something called Sharpened Senses, which raise his chance to hit and his ranged damage. Upgrading it increases the number of stacks he can accumulate. So Luco is a character who gets more dangerous the longer a fight goes on. Park him somewhere with a clear line down the map and let the stacks build. He is the opposite of an opening turn operator. Number 5 is the droid M3VO. Most people are just going to call them Meevo. This is a bipedal utility droid, and they are the pilot of the Caisson, which is the transport ship Zero Company runs out of. So Meevo is the one flying you to every job on the board. Sources ahead of launch also list a medic role alongside the piloting, and they sit in the Astromech class. Now, I am going to be straight with you here. Meevo is the one operator whose signature talent I cannot confirm. It is not listed in any of the pre-launch material I could find. I am not going to invent one to fill the gap. What I can tell you is that there is a talent in this game restricted to astromechs specifically. It is called Built-in Comlink, and it hands an ally extra action points. Whether that is Meevo's fixed talent or simply the option available to droids is exactly the sort of thing we will know on Thursday. If you want that answered, this is the entry to come back to after launch. Number 6 is Cly Kullervo, and she is your Mandalorian. Cly is one of the last surviving members of an ancient clan called Verminoth. She does not join Zero Company because she believes in the cause. She joins because she is chasing revenge, and the company happens to be going the same direction. She holds the Mandalorian Exotic class, which means a jetpack and free vertical movement around the battlefield. Her talent is called Combat Jump. She leaps to a nearby position and shoves enemies out of place when she lands. That is already useful for breaking up a firing line, but this is one of those talents where the upgrade changes the ability rather than just the numbers. At tier 4, Combat Jump starts inflicting burn on what it hits. So the same button goes from a repositioning tool to a repositioning tool that leaves damage behind. She also has exclusive access to the Mandalorian Armor cosmetics, which is a small thing that matters to a certain kind of player. Number 7 is Tel-Rea Vokoss, and she is the only Jedi you get. Tel-Rea is a Tognath, and she is a Padawan who lost her master before the events of the game. If you are wondering about the mask, that is the species rather than the equipment. Tognath need a breathing apparatus and enhanced optics away from their homeworld. The atmosphere they evolved in is not the one everybody else is standing in. She is written as calm and disciplined, and what drives her is honoring the memory of the Jedi who trained her. Mechanically, she is the one permanent specialization on the roster. She is a Jedi Padawan, and she cannot be rebuilt into anything else. Her talent is called Strong with the Force. She gains stacks of harmony at the start of every turn, and those stacks raise both her lightsaber deflection and her attack damage. So A Jedi who has been standing in a fight for a few rounds is deflecting more blaster fire and hitting harder for it. She also has a force push that costs 6 advantage and throws everything near her backwards. One serious warning to close on. Because that specialization is permanent and cannot be transferred, losing Tel-Rea means losing the Jedi from that campaign entirely. Protect her more carefully than you protect anybody else on the roster. And number 8 is Hawks, which is to say you. Hawks is the disgraced former Republic officer running this outfit, and he is the one operator you build yourself from scratch. Appearance, species, and specialization are all yours. What is not yours to choose is his talent. It is called Fearless Leader, and it is an aura rather than an ability you press. While Hawks is on the field, every operator in the squad gets bonuses to assist damage and to defense. Upgrading it simply makes those bonuses larger. I should flag one discrepancy here. At least one guide describes Fearless Leader as also letting Hawks spend advantage to refresh an ally's action point once per turn. That does not appear consistently across sources, so treat the aura as confirmed and the action point refresh as unverified until Thursday. Either way, the design intent is obvious. Hawks makes everybody around him better, and the game then builds its tension on top of that. He is the one authored operator not subject to permadeath. He is also the one whose death ends the mission outright. That is the authored roster, but most of your squad will be operators you generate yourself. So let us finish on the talents they can take. One thing to clear up first because it changes how you build. Species in this game are purely cosmetic. BitReactor have confirmed that no species carries better weapon proficiencies or any mechanical advantage over another. So pick whatever you like the look of. The only real restriction is which species Hawks himself can be. A handful of them are open to your recruits, but not to your commander, and that includes Wiki and Rodian. So let us get into the talents themselves. There are 11 universal talents in the game, and 10 of them are open to any created character. The 11th is restricted to astromechs, and that is the built-in comlink we talked about earlier. Working through the rest of them, a life of labor grants extra health and defense. Most people will point at that one as the safest pick because every number it gives you is useful regardless of class. Grit hands the operator a temporary invulnerable state that ignores an incoming attack. Fortitude grants additional defense while injured, which pairs obviously with the wound system. Anticipation has the operator evade attacks outright. Taunt forces enemies to swing at that character instead of your fragile ones. Cold-Blooded grants a status called Vicious for landing critical hits easily. The bigger they are, gives you damage bonuses against the most dangerous targets on the field. Sabotage detonates objects lying around the battlefield. Then there are 2 that do not pay out in combat at all. Thievery earns extra credits on a mission, and Espionage picks up extra intel. Both feed your strategy layer instead of your firefight. One important note on those 2. They do not stack across a team, so loading 3 operators with Thievery is wasted. So that is every authored operator and every talent we know about going into launch. And remember the chain underneath all of it. Bonds feed focus points, and focus points are what turn these abilities from useful into genuinely powerful. The squad you keep together is the squad that gets stronger. One last note on the tier counts. Sources disagree about whether talents cap at 4 ranks or at 6. Launch day will settle that one too. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 8 are you building your squad around? And is anybody brave enough to take Tel-Rea into a permadeath run? Let me know down in the comments. We are covering this one right through launch, so subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.